to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen.
With me today is abundance teacher and money coach, JodieLynn Craven.
This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Now, JodieLynn, I don't know about you, but I have always believed that my stem cells were just kind of there in my body, and they did what they needed to do, and they did it at the time they needed to do it. I had no idea how any of it would work. The last thing that ever occurred to me was the idea that I could consciously activate them. Now, have you ever had that thought? Has that ever occurred to you?
Not consciously. I mean, we've talked about healing ourselves and like that kind of stuff
Right.
in the show. And I've talked about that lots in my personal life and coaching business, but not like actively thinking about stem cells. I don't know anything about stem cells.
That's not the first thing that comes to your mind, right?
No.
The idea that I'm going to turn the stem cells on today. I mean, that's not on the agenda normally. Okay, go do the shopping, have breakfast, turn on stem cells. Now, I mean, it's just not part of your normal conversation.
100%.
So we're going to make that part of the conversation today. Sound good to you?
Yeah.
All right. So
do it.
Darlene Greene is joining us today. She's going to teach us about, she actually just gave us a cue that she is not going to be telling those of us who live in the United States about activating your own stem cells, because apparently the FDA has gone loopy about this. We're going to learn about that in a moment. But Darlene Greene, thank you for joining us on this show. We're really looking forward to this, just based on the conversation we had in the green room before we got started. This is going to be fun. But how are you doing?
Thanks, Walt and JodieLynn. It's so nice to be with you guys. You guys are awesome. And it's great to be here. I'm super excited to share with you all about stem cells, because I've learned more than I ever wanted to know about stem cells. Yes, and the FDA has gone a little loopy and decided your stem cells in the United States, just yours, Walt, not yours, JodieLynn, yours in the United States are a drug, even though they're in your body. So I can't talk about our technology that activates them in the United States, but I can in Canada and the rest of the world, because they're not owned by the FDA. So yeah, see, here's the thing I didn't know. Stem cells decline as you age, and that's why we age faster and we heal slower. So by the time you're 30, half of them are dormant. They're still floating around in there, but they're dormant. And by the time you're 60, just a small number remains. So I'm 58 and I have just a small number remaining.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I'm 66. Do I have any left at all?
You have none, maybe one. Yeah.
Hello, anybody out there?
Maybe one. They're just not working. And that's why you find like kids heal really fast. And this way, when we get older, our bones don't heal when we break them, and things just don't heal as quickly. And we start to wrinkle in our skin. Everything starts to show our age. But that's really because those stem cells are no longer doing what they do, which is they were the body's raw materials. So they reduce inflammation. They trigger the cell death of old bad cells. They can become bone or cartilage or muscle or anything they need to be. They can be anything they need to be in your body.
Which is pretty exciting and scary and tantalizing, all wrapped up into one great big wad. I'm still kind of getting over the idea that the FDA says that, first of all, that it's a drug. Second of all, that it's manufactured in my body, which means I'm a drug dealer.
Yeah.
I never anticipated I would be a drug dealer.
That's true.
Along with 330 odd million other Americans. We're all drug dealers, apparently.
That's right. Well, only if you're dealing your stem cells, I suppose. I suppose you got to give them away to do that. But
you're dealing them to yourself. I mean, your body is, you're the distributor, you're the junkie, you're the dealer, you're the pusher, all of them.
Wow.
Yep.
That is crazy. All right, so we're having fun here, but we also need to take a look at the serious side. There is a story behind how you ended up discovering all this. Tell us that story.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, my husband received this dreaded diagnosis of neurological decline. For those of us in the United States, JodieLynn, it was Alzheimer's.
That's different too? What?
Just work with me. Trying to stay compliant. But yeah, so that early Alzheimer's decline was significant. And we tried everything to try to help him out. And that included going to Mexico 4 times in a year to get IV stem cells. And we did hyperbaric chamber, and we did ozone blood spinning therapy. We did the Dr. Bredesen protocol, which is all about keto diet, exercise, not, high quality fats, supplements. We took everything out of the diet that was bad for you, from alcohol to Diet Coke to bad carbs. But we have this saying in my family, like, if it tastes good, spit it out. That's not really true, because there's a lot of really good food that's really very yummy and good for you. But that's just kind of our funny saying in the house. But we did sleep protocol. We did everything. Nothing made a difference. And my husband was to the point of such decline. He was napping 3.5 hours a day. He was falling asleep at 7 p.m. at night. We were going to bed at 8:30. So it's not like we were staying up really late anyway. We were getting a good number of hours of sleep. He was now disengaged from conversation. He was no longer even trying to talk because it was just too hard. The core of his personality is really to be funny. And he wasn't even trying to be funny anymore. So it was pretty startling. We'd been working on sleep and his deep sleep. The most I got him to was like 15 minutes of deep sleep. So we tried red light therapy in the bathrooms and not eating 3 hours before bed, and supplements and red light glasses and you name it, getting your eyes on the sun in the morning. I mean, I took classes on how to improve deep sleep because that's when the brain flushes all those toxins, right? Still wasn't really doing, making a big difference. So we started this amazing technology, photobiomodulation, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it's really just the same technology that is when you walk outside and you're in the sun and the light touches your skin and you make vitamin D. Okay. It's just that, or melanin for a suntan.
Right.
So, except you have light inside of you, right? So if I looked at you with night vision goggles, there's light inside of you. So we put on this little patch. It's like, the size of a quarter, and it's like a little mirror. It's completely hermetically sealed. You put it on anywhere on your body, but they had studies behind the neck and below the belly button, and you put it on for 12 hours and take it off 12 hours after that. And it reflects that light back into your body at a very specific wavelength. And guess what it does?
I can hardly wait.
JodieLynn, it activates your stem cells. Walt, it elevates your GHKCU peptide. And we'll talk about all the benefits of GHKCU peptide in a moment, but one of them is activating stem cells.
So JodieLynn, I think I'm going to move to Canada. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Wow.
The difference this made in the first week was unbelievable. So he didn't even nap. So that 3.5 hour nap he was taking, I had been taking for like a year, where I would literally want to go shake him like, are you alive? 3.5 hours is a long nap. It's a scary length of nap, right? He didn't nap at all. He did not fall asleep at 7 p.m. in front of a TV show. He was chattier than he had been in years. I mean, like decades, like chatty, and funny. He was witty. He was zingers. He was not asking me the same questions over and over 7 times in 3 minutes. Thank you, Lord Jesus. So he was back to his original funny and flirty self. So I feel like in the period of 1 week, I got my husband back. And then in the second week, he got an hour and 25 minutes of deep sleep. He went from 15 minutes to an hour and 25 minutes of deep sleep. That was a record. Like we track this every night. That was amazing. In the 10th week, he regained the ability to drum to the beat and whistle, which he had lost along the way. It was a skill he'd lost. At the 5-month mark, he regained his sense of smell. Now, this is huge neurologically. He had lost that 15 years ago. 15 years ago. It's actually an early warning indicator for Alzheimer's. I didn't know that then, but I now know that. And that's just, those are sort of the big things. But the other thing was he had a huge bald spot, closed up.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's not entirely closed up, but it went from like this big to this big. And it's not just, it used to be gray hair and blondish hair, mostly gray hair. It's coming in chestnut brown. His whole little body is covered in hair now. So that's been really, really fun. And so, I'm not here to tell you that he's cured by any stretch of the imagination, but I am here to tell you I have my husband back. I have my husband, his personality, and I have hope, because this is really promising, right? This is really promising. And there are testimonies of people with Alzheimer's that their PET scans or their MRIs are cleared after wearing these patches.
I'm beginning to understand why the FDA decided that this terrible thing that you can't mention, stem cells, is a drug, because I can see why they want to regulate it. That's going to upset a lot of apple carts.
It's okay. Well, you're visiting Canada, so you can say stem cells.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, Canada. Oh, no, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
I don't care if I'm in Canada or not. FDA, screw you. I'm going to talk about stem cells. Get over it.
Well, and that's just Jim's story. So there are so many stories. There's my story. Like, I had broken my foot. I had ripped a ligament entirely. I had been in pain for 5 months, and I've been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, POTS. They actually wanted me to take fludrocortisol, which is a medicine to increase your blood pressure to keep me from passing out. Regular headaches, rosacea, all sorts of dry skin issues, all sorts of issues. And first of all, after patching in the very first week, there's a patch called Ice Wave. This is our pain relief patch. It is absolutely unbelievable. I can't even, it's better than morphine, Vicodin, you name it. This takes pain from 12 to 0 in less than 15 seconds. And I couldn't even believe it. Like, I put it on my ankle and I was like, okay, that's just like impossible. I don't know how that happened. Maybe I'm just imagining this is the day I was going to be out of pain anyway. After 5 months, this was going to be my day. But then I took it off before going to bed, because you wear them 12 hours and then you take it off. And 12 hours later, boy, my ankle was, when I took it off, my ankle began throbbing in 15 minutes again. And there are double-blind placebo-controlled studies for the pain patches. We have a patch that reduces inflammation. Inflammation eats up stem cells, so we like to reduce inflammation while we activate stem cells so that you get the best bang for your buck. But in literally over time, I no longer have to take fludrocortisol to keep me upright. I can play pickleball in the heat of the summer of Arizona, something I could not do last year. My rosacea took 3 months, but it cleared up. You can see I don't have the red and the acne. Right. I used to have to do Cetaphil daily for my dry skin. Now my skin is as soft as a baby's butt. It is so soft. I find myself rubbing my elbows, because it's just like, that is unbelievable. Wow. It's just amazing. I'm no longer having the pains of fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue or just so many different things are fabulous for me. And that's just us, the two of us, right? I could tell you stories that blow your mind from my friend whose cousin.
I don't know how to tell you this, but you've already blown the mind. Like, what we're talking about now is blowing up the cells that are left.
Yeah.
Well, think about this. A veteran an Agent Orange veteran with leukemia on his deathbed told, we're going to give you this medicine. It's going to kill you, but it'll increase your quality of life before you die. He started the patches and in 2 days was off medications and out of bed running around, not having to use his wheelchair, not having to use his walker in 2 weeks, traveling. His wife count dropped. He's living a very high quality life now. I mean, there's just story after story after story. My sister, microscopic noise for 6 years. She literally had it cleared up in 3 weeks. After trying IV stem cell, antibiotics, steroids, it all cleared up. These are miraculous.
Hold on a second. There's something that's still blowing my mind that we got to bring out here. You said this is reflecting our own light back into us. This is literally a vibration patch that we're talking about.
Yes, it's light therapy. Yes.
Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. This is what we talk about. We talked before. I've done 2,000 plus episodes, all of them talking about vibration. Here we are talking about vibration in a freaking patch. I mean, come on.
Isn't it amazing?
The thing that is blowing my mind right now is, in the healing space, the spiritual space, whatever, inside of that space, we always say, go within to change everything on the outside. And you're literally reflecting the light from within back within to heal yourself, which the light in my mind is the representation of God and creation, all of it. Like, My mind is going over here.
The inventor will tell you the whole idea was downloaded to him from God. And what could be more powerful than the light within you, right?
Right.
I just got full body shivers.
Okay, so tell us more about these patches. I mean, you can't just wave a quarter-size patch in front of us and say, well, this patch, I put it on my skin and look at all this. Tell us about this thing.
Okay, so this one patch, this X39 patch, this is the patch. Like if you were only going to do one patch, this is the patch. This is the one that elevates your GHK-CU. And I just want to briefly talk to all the United States audience about GHK-CU because it's very well researched. It's been 50 years of published research on it. Dr. Lauren Picard, you can Google it in PubMed and you can find out that it actually not only increases your stem cells and produces growth factors, but it protects lungs. It restores healthy function in COPD affected cells. Wow. It is an antioxidant. It is an anti-inflammatory. It alters the expression of human genes. In fact, in the first 24 hours of wearing this patch, you reset 3,000 to 4,000 of your genes to their healthier, younger state.
Oh my God.
What?
Can you believe that? So there are times that I patch somebody and they like walk away and I never hear from them again. But you know what? I have done good for the world. I have reset 3,000 to 4,000 of their genes to a younger, and they don't know if that's an Alzheimer gene. In fact, actually, some of the genes that are reset, it resets 84 that are specifically helpful to inhibit cancer. In fact, it's GHK-CU. So let me make sure I'm talking about GHK-CU here. It resets programmed cell death of human cancer cells, including neuroblastoma, leukemia, breast cancer cells, and it does not affect healthy cells. It inhibits NF-κB-P65, which is believed to promote cancer. It repairs damaged DNA. People get actually GHK-CU injections, and this one doctor was doing like 4 injections a day and still not getting the same number of elevated GHK-CU as this one patch did in a day. Wow. And it is not only, I can't wait to tell you about the brain, all that it does for the brain, including anti-aggression, improving cognitive function, memory. It grows new blood vessels, skin and hair we talked about, but that's because of collagen. It increases collagen elastin. So we have people who have bone on their knee. Guess what? They don't need knee surgery all of a sudden. They have accelerated wound healing, increased healing of skin, stomach. Oh, and the heart. I have to tell you about the heart. So the GHK-CU reduces fibrinogen synthesis, which is the top predictor of cardiovascular disease. And it increases myostatin, which inhibits heart failure. So when you look at, like, there's this book called How to Reverse Aging, A Comprehensive Guide to Copper Peptides by Dr. John Harmon. And the chapters of this book will tell you some of what GHK-CU does. It's about, copper peptide in the immune system, copper peptide and the benefits to skin, copper peptide in the cardiovascular system, copper peptide and the role in athletic performance. Oh, while we're talking about athletic performance, I have to tell you the specific guide. Over 300 athletes in the Olympics were wearing these patches. We're wearing one of our very first patches called Energy Enhancers. Over 300. Michael Phelps, Serena Williams, Venus.
What?
Tom Brady wears these patches. So why don't we know about them? Why doesn't the whole world know about them? Where was this 2 years ago when I was going off to Mexico 4 times a year and paying $10,000 an IV of stem cells for my husband and not seeing any difference? When this little X39 patch is less than a cup of coffee a day, $99 for this little sleeve if you buy wholesale. Otherwise, you can pay $150 retail, but why would anybody do that? Why? I don't know. So super, super affordable. And people talk about, when they wear this patch, they experience a change. Usually they notice it between 3 to 6 weeks. So they say you should wear it a month for every decade you are old to repair all of those, reactivate those stem cells, rejuvenate, right? And then what they feel is very in line with what you just heard about GHK-CU. So JodieLynn, here, rapid pain relief, reduced inflammation, supported wound healing, energy and vitality, mental clarity, enhanced sport performance, faster recovery. I love the faster recovery from exercise. especially with my fibromyalgia, I had to always be super careful working out because my recovery was just so compromised. And I'm not having that anymore. I'm able to go work out hard, and where I used to not be able to walk for 2 days or 3 days after that, I'm okay. That means I can work out harder and do better muscle work, where right now I want to improve my muscle and my bone density. So I want to tell you about this one study for the brain, because I'm super excited about the study on the brain and the heart. There are 2 studies that I love. One was a 2019 study by Chevalier. It's a SciTech study. They have, if you could see these 3 pictures, session 1 is before people started X39. And in that picture, it's an EEG of the brain. And there's multiple people participated. And what they found was people that had hypercoherence. So red, just imagine a lot of red color, shimmery red color. And this is a symbol of like inflammation, anxiety, PTSD, not a very good performing brain, not good communication between hemispheres. Mm-hmm. Session 2 was after 3 weeks on the patch. And you can already see the colors coming in, the yellows, the greens, the blues, and they're all like intermixing. And then 6 weeks later on the patch, you see a whole new picture, and people are reporting all of these benefits of symptoms. And what this study found was, yes, they saw the increased GHKCU, but they also saw cell and nerve regeneration. They saw a balance of the brain, improved coherence, an improved nervous system, and lowered anxiety. I have, I don't know, 25 testimonials on people that had PTSD that no longer have PTSD, which is really near and dear to my heart. I'm a 20-year Navy veteran, and I've done a lot to take care of veterans. So that really means a lot for me. It decreased brain inflammation. It improved memory. It improved focus. And it improved not only cognitive brain function, but the harder the task or complexity of the task, the better improvement they saw. Unbelievable. In 6 weeks.
Does X39 also do the dishes and the laundry and the vacuuming?
No, but it will help you do those dishes.
It will.
Here's a true story. My first week. So I have complained about cooking my whole life. Like, I don't like cooking. Why I wish I would have married somebody who loved cooking, because I'm not interested in that. The very first week, with my broken foot and sprained ankle, I'm in the kitchen cooking up all. I don't know why I hated cooking. I had so much energy. I'm like, oh my God, it's because I just didn't have any energy at the end of the day. This is what happens when you actually get an injection of real energy. It is night and day difference. Unbelievable.
I'm sitting here thinking about, first of all these areas of medicine that are about to have massive heart attacks within their industries. Well, I'm also thinking about, I've been dealing with a relatively minor thing by comparison to all this stuff, but I've had an Achilles injury. It's not even an injury. It's a degenerative situation that has occurred over a number of years that I've been going to physical therapy for.
That baby. We'll just get
and I'm thinking, I was literally at the physical therapist today, and she was talking about, well, it takes 6 to 8 months to do this kind of healing, and you're making good progress and all this other kind of thing. And then I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I put a patch on, how much it speeds that up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you can heal wounds, right? There's an anesthesiologist that was on a doctor's panel that I saw. He said, he's been a physician for 40 years. So not like a young whippersnapper. He literally said, this is the most significant medical breakthrough in his lifetime.
Wow.
In his lifetime.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is. Let's talk about this heart study, Center for Biofield Sciences study. And you can see all these on my website. You can link to them from the website. But in this 6-week study, the cardiovascular system began acting as if it were 8 weeks younger. And every time they just kept measuring, and it just kept getting younger. And the cardiovascular system, not just the heart, your whole vascular system through your entire body. This doctor that wrote this book, Dr. John Harmon, he had a right branch bundle blockage. And and he didn't know he had a right branch bundle blockage until he was going to have a different kind of surgery. And they did a test on his heart, because in his early years, he had some issues with his heart. So they were just testing it out, and they discovered this right branch bundle blockage. He did a year on, I think, X39 and Eon. It may have been a little over a year. They went back and they did another heart scan for him. His right branch bundle blockage was gone. And the cardiologists are saying, like, that's not possible. We don't have anything that gets rid of right branch bundle. There's just nothing that does that. And he's just like, except stem cells.
I think I'm going to get a second patch, actually, because about 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with macular degeneration.
Oh, we have a patch for that.
Whoa, wait, but wait, there's more. And over the years, I have actually managed.
Sorry. I shouldn't be cheering that you have macular degeneration.
No. Well, that's actually that's the twist of the story, because over the years, through nutrition and some intention and just meditation, all kinds of stuff, I got to the point where my last visit, they said, well, you don't have macular degeneration. We're not sure that you ever did have it. And I said, well, you've been telling me for years that I did. So I'm kind of going with the old diagnosis. But what they'd also told me about 3 visits back was that I had a tear of my macula, a retinal tear, actually, not macula, but a full retinal tear that had never been detected properly. And so it had healed itself. But when it heals itself with a scar. So I have this diagonal line going across my left eye's field of vision. And I'm thinking to myself, what happens if I put one of these patches next to my left eye? So, I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm thinking this is a cool experiment.
There's a picture. I'm not entirely sure if it's on. I think it's on my website, but there's a picture of a scar right after open heart surgery. Really rough, like you can imagine, right? A year later, it's like this big canal. It's a divot in the heart area. And then 1 month after being on X39, it's already flattened, because activating GHKCU starts remodeling. And that doesn't just happen on the outside of the skin. That happens everywhere inside of our body where we have, we have scar. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries, a knee surgery, 2 feet surgeries. I mean, this is the life of an athlete. You just have it. So all that scar tissue, it goes in, it breaks down, it gets all that scar tissue out, it puts new fresh cells in there, and it repairs. It's just remarkable. But we have specifically a patch that's amazing for the eyes. It's carnosine. And maybe there actually are people that do carnosine injections into the eyes. That's because they are known to, carnosine hangs out in the eyes. And this patch protects the neurological system, improves organs, it promotes the health and wellness of the brain, the heart, and the muscles. So we can't say to our stem cell activation patch or our elevating of GHKCU patch, hey, I want you to go to my eye, right? Go to my eye and start getting to work on that scar. It's going to go into you, Walt, and say, oh, Walt, dear, your lungs or your heart or your liver or your kidneys, you have led a good life.
Yeah.
We're going to come take care of the most important things first. We'll get to your eye, but it may take a little while. But what we can do is there are supportive patches, and carnosine being one of them, that we know elevating those, that peptide. It's just a different wavelength, elevating a different peptide in your body.
Of course it's a different wavelength. What else could it possibly be? That's what we've talked about for a decade here.
Absolutely. And carnosine has been proven to not only prevent mental decline, but improve reduce visual degeneration. So it enhances athletic performance, strength, flexibility, stamina. It protects telomeres, if you're familiar with telomeres. It's a great first aid patch for bumps and bruises and lacerations and clots, and it repairs healing and longevity. And it helps with heart and blood sugar issues and fast-growing cells. You can read between the lines.
Fill in the gap on that one. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So if you have glasses, do you think that you could one day not have glasses?
So there are testimonies of people who don't have glasses, who can read. This one guy, bless his heart, I love him to death, Bob Campbell. He's got the most amazing testimonial. So he was hoping to be able to get out of pain from knees. He had, I think, 4 knee surgeries, 4 feet surgeries. He was in excruciating pain. And he went a long time, and he was seeing more energy. He was seeing better sleep, which, by the way, he had very bad sleep. So he was getting those things, but it was not until the 7th month. Now he's in his late 70s, but not until the 7th month that he, all of a sudden, his inflammation throughout his hands, like his wedding ring, he could finally wear again. All of the joints, the inflammation was gone. His knee stopped hurting. He's now, amazing, right? So over time, he just kept obviously wearing the patch. And the next year, I think it was year 2, that he had cancer cells. He was a postman, and he had cancer cells all over his hands that he kept having to get burned off. He'd had it burned off I think twice already, and it was really, really painful. He said he just literally would cry through the procedure. It was so painful. Well, they had grown back each time, and he had them on his hands, and he was just dreading it, so he didn't go back to get it done. But in year 2, he looked down, and all of his cancer cells, all of the little bumps were just gone, except one. And I met him, and he showed me, this is the only one hanging out here with me. But the year 3, he literally one day was reading a book, and he realized he was reading it without his glasses. And he had,
what?
Did we lose Walt? Yeah, he was reading without glasses for the first time since 3rd grade.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That is so amazing.
So exciting.
It's like a miracle.
It is like a miracle. So, and it's so miraculous that you know the company is exploding, right? So since the X39 patch came out, the company has grown 20 times in 4 years, and that's through the pandemic. You know, wow. 20 times growth. So we are finally kind of catching the attention of the FDAs of the world, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking I've had fertility issues in the past.
Oh, I've seen testimonies for that.
Tell me all about the things.
Oh, well, if you think about it, if it's improving, there's one that's balancing hormones. There's one that's improving the quality of everything. So, you know, what can't a stem cell do? And I strongly believe it can do anything, including reverse my husband's situation. And there's more technology. So the inventor and the owner, he has over 150 patents. He's a brilliant researcher and scientist. He has, there's over 90 clinical studies. He has been awarded the Advanced Technology Award from the International Hall of Fame, not once, but twice.
Wow.
This was originally, and this is near and dear to my heart as a Navy girl. It was originally, the first patches were developed for Navy SEALs. The Department of the Navy asked him, hey, we've got to keep these guys up for, days. They can't get sleep. We don't want to put amphetamines and drugs in them that aren't good for them. Is there something we can do? And so that's when he invented the energy enhancers. And they were so successful that all of a sudden he was talking to the Stanford swim team. Well, guess what? The Stanford swim team began to use them kind of as a beta test. And 6 out of 7 of the swimmers that used them the very first day broke their personal best record.
Oh my God.
Ever. And these were like world records. Like this Stanford swim team was closely connected to the Olympic swim team. All of the Olympic swim team was then wearing the patches in the Olympics. They swept the medals. There was a huge investigation of the patches because what are these patches? You could see them on them. Which, by the way, they're waterproof because you need swimming.
Of course they are.
Wear them. And so, so they got this deep investigation and they're like, hey, there's nothing going in the body. It's just lights. And so they were all cleared. They all kept their medals. Everything was good. We're in over 70 countries. It's distributed globally. We have offices and labs in California and Utah and Ireland. Walt, we've grown over 20 times in the last 4 years.
I'm surprised it's only 20.
Yeah. Well, it keeps, every month we break a record where we're doing 30 million a year before, and we're doing over 30 million a month now. It's just insane. And that's because people are experiencing these crazy results, right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I can tell you.
It is a miracle. It is your own body's miracle. It is a miracle that we have the ability to heal ourselves, and it facilitates that.
That's the most exciting part about it. I mean, I just can think about all the different interviews I've done over the years with people in the medical field or people just in holistic healing or in anything that's even tied into this kind of thing, talking about how the body is capable of healing ourselves. We just have to learn how to make that happen. And now we're having the conversation that says, well, hey, guess what? We figured it out. We broke the code. Here's how you make it happen. Like, oh, this is exciting. I mean, literally, as soon as we're done here, I'm ordering the patches. I mean, that's
Well, I listen to the people on your podcast. Each of them, and I'm like, oh, you need the patches. Like inside my head, I'm like, oh, people walking down the street with a cane or wheelchair. It's all I can do to not pull over and go, let me patch you.
Yeah,
I had a phlebotomist taking blood for a normal routine lab work, and she winced, and I'm like, are you okay? And she said, no, my knee is killing me. And I said, well, do you want me to help you with that? And she's like, can you? And I said, yes. And she said, what can you do? And I said, well, what's your pain level? And I said, 1 to 10. She said, it's a 12. I can barely stand up. I can barely stand up. I literally, I can't wait for my shift to end so I can go home. So I put these 2 little ice wave patches on her. The ice wave is a 2-patch system. And I put it in the very first place. Now, the rest of the patches don't have to be in a very specific place. They can be anywhere in your body and it all works. But ice wave it's like an art. Like you need to get it in exactly the right spot because you're kind of blocking the pain signal. So when you get it in the exact right spot, the pain disappears. If you don't have it in the exact right spot, it's like nothing. So, but the first spot I put it, she was just like, oh my gosh. She started to cry. She started to dance around the office. I said, what's your pain level right now? She said, it's 0. It's gone. I mean, and when you get to do that, I mean, there is no more fun thing in the world than immediately taking them out of pain and watching this incredulity on their face. This like, what? Morphine didn't do that. Vicodin, nothing. And there's a dear friend of mine, Brenda, who lost her son to a drug overdose. And he had been addicted and then he got clean and then he got into this terrible accident. And so he was really monitoring and just doing like one of these and one of the sleep. But they came too close together and he didn't wake up. And she's just like, if we would have known about these patches, we would have been patching him with this. He would have had an alternative to the drug that he was having to try not to get addicted to again. So there's so much potential.
It's just incredible to think about. And I'll tell you something. Now, this show originally started off 11 years ago talking about the law of attraction, mainly because I needed to learn how it worked. And I was in a bad place in my life. So I figured, well, I'll start a podcast and I'll bring all the experts on and I'll get taught for free. And it worked. It worked really, really well. Now, over time, of course, I've learned a lot about how it works. And we've kind of expanded the conversation to include all of life because law of attraction touches all of life. One of the things that I've been working on in my own life is what we all do. Those of us who know about law of attraction, we're trying to manifest things into our lives. We're trying to get ourselves into the right vibrational space to make things happen. One of the things I've been focusing on in the last few years is the recognition of stem cells and wondering I wonder if there's some way I can attract stem cells coming in to fix some of the things that I want to have fixed going on in my body. And here we are having a conversation today talking about stem cells using vibration, light-based vibration to come into the body and fix things going on. I'm saying, yes, I love this law of attraction. I love it.
Isn't that amazing? You're right. You're right. I can't tell you how many people, is there anyone in the world that doesn't need this? I can't think of them.
Well, no, I didn't know that your stem cells just die. Like
they do. And if you look at a chart like that, I actually have a presentation that I do every Thursday, typically with anybody who wants to join, to sort of have me walk through it. The chart is scary. Like it's way up here. And then when you get to be age 1 to 12, it's like, boom, it's lower. And then between 12 and 13 and 21, it's dropped again. And then it just kind of stays almost nil till you get to the higher levels. And then it's really, really tiny. Yeah, I didn't know that either. The other thing we have a patch for that I love, and I don't know how much, do you all know much about glutathione?
Not much. I know enough to be dangerous. That's about all I can say. Okay,
well, let's talk about glutathione for a second, because I was actually taking glutathione before I ever knew anything about the patches, orally or getting it in an IV. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It is an immune booster. So really helpful through pandemics and other things, right? It also is known to be in the people that live the longest in the world. If you go to the blue zones, they have the highest levels of glutathione. So what I found out was my little IV, which was very, very pricey, by the way, was raising my glutathione by about 27% per 7 minutes.
For 7 minutes.
7 whopping minutes, right? 7 minutes. So
don't blink, it's gone.
That's exactly. So we have a patch that is a glutathione patch, and it is in a study. They found, here it is, it's glutathione. In a study they did, they found that this patch raised glutathione 300% on average. Some were higher than that. And it kept it there for 24 hours.
Wow.
So if you were to ask me, like, there's a whole suite of patches, right? There are patches for elevating bone density and lean muscle mass.
Oh my God.
A lot of the X49, it's another stem cell activation patch. It actually, for you, JodieLynn, for you, Walt, it's elevating AHKCU, which is a daughter peptide to the copper peptide. It is amazing. So I wanted my mom and dad on that. They're in their 80s, and they weren't very sturdy. They were very much at fall risk, right? And I knew, and my mom had broken her fibula. They were both wobbly. So they are sturdier in taking these patches on, and they are on the X39, X49. That's a great bundle. But if you were to ask me, of all the patches, what does everyone need? What do all people benefit from? I would say the X39 and the Eon, right? Because we need to reduce inflammation, which is the root of so much evil anyway, disease and everything. And we can't really get away from inflammation. It's in our environment. It's in our stress. It's in our food that we eat, the toxins we can't seem to get away from. So inflammation, reduce the inflammation, elevate your copper peptide, and activate your stem cells. And then ultimately, after some period of time, depending on people, eventually add in glutathione. And I would say eventually, not right away, because X39 alone elevates glutathione by 30%. So you start detoxing and dumping those toxins out of your tissues. So you want to make sure you're drinking lots of water. That's the only thing that's required, is people need to drink half their body weight in ounces in water every day. And it's better if they take in some electrolytes, and it's better if they take a copper supplement. Don't have to, but they'll see better results as a result of that. But that glutathione, I didn't know. I now, one of the things I love about this company, I love this company. It's all about love. The whole company is about love. Everybody is like a big family of people who just want to give to each other and help people heal. And but they're very educational. So one of the things I learned about glutathione is glutathione protects DNA from damage, and it repairs damaged cells, and it protects and rejuvenates stem cells. It increases the length of your life. We talked about those blood zone folks. Reduces inflammation, protects hearing and eyesight, so would be good for eyes. Smooths out imperfection of the skin. I actually had a brown spot here. You can't see it anymore. It's just gone. I had this huge little brown spot. It just disappeared. It protects from sunburn. It helps manage oxygen.
My goodness.
It improves organ function. It protects the myelin sheath. For those of you who
God.
About Parkinson's,
dad.
Protecting the myelin sheath is huge. So they've actually seen some reversal of symptoms as a result of, I have a friend who has tremored since 5 years old, Parkinson's, tremors. 3 weeks on X39 and Eon. Her tremors were so dramatically, and she was the biggest skeptic. We all started almost at the same time. She was maybe a week behind, and she's like, there is just no way this little patch can do all of this magic. I can hardly believe it, but what do I have to lose, right? It's not expensive. So she did. And 3 weeks later, she's like, I'm coming over to your house. I'm buying every patch you have in the arsenal of sweets. I just want everything that you have, because my tremors are so dramatically gone that I'm ready for it all. Like,
that's
huge.
And
that's kind of like what we did.
That's
like
huge.
Most people should just sort of start on a couple. I don't have time for that. Like, I need them all. Give them to me. Give them to me. I want my husband to have all of them, because I don't know what's going to make the big difference for him, and we don't have any time to waste. So I love glutathione. Yeah. And I guess one more thing about glutathione. So you know that if you've been vaccinated, or you've had COVID, or you've even had shedding of someone vaccinated or COVID, you have spike proteins. And these spike proteins are ugly critters. They have little horns, they have little tail.
Horns and tail, I love it.
They don't function. Like, you can look at them in pictures. It causes clumpy white cells. And the problem is that means they're not oxygenating properly. And that means your respiratory system, your pericarditis, all sorts of things go wrong with these spike proteins. Well, the three combination, the X39, Eon, and glutathione, has been proven to reduce these spike proteins. My girlfriend actually did a test herself. She did a live blood cell analysis, and they had 6 slides, and she had spike proteins across all of them. And then after 6 weeks on those 3, X39, eon, and glutathione, she went back and had the test done again. They had wanted her to do all of these medications and pharmaceuticals. And she's like, no, I'm going to do these patches. She went back. All of the spike proteins were gone, with the exception of one that was hiding behind a cell. They were looking and finally found one. And she's like, yeah, that guy's not going to be long for this world. So I'm fine. So yeah, really amazing.
Just incredible. I mean, honestly, from what you're talking about here, what you're telling us, first of all, it's very clear we can't do all of this in one episode because we really need to do some deep dives here. I think you agree with that, JodieLynn, right?
Honestly, we can dive deeply on each patch. Like there's just an amazing story behind every patch, and testimonials. I have a laundry list of testimonials. You name it, I've got a testimonial for it practically.
Okay, so we also need to touch on the bad guys here, because there are going to be some people who are going to be very adversely affected by what this is talking about here, including some heavy pharmaceuticals and medical industry people and so forth. So let's talk about what some of the pushback has been. What are they saying about how this is all a bunch of pseudoscience and witchcraft and it doesn't actually have any science behind it and the studies are unreliable? Tell us about that side of it.
Yeah, so honestly, we've kind of, because of the company, we've sort of stayed under the radar because it's direct sales. We really haven't had full-blown attacks. It's only been in this past month that the FDA kind of came out and said, and it wasn't specific to our company, it was sort of across, they've decided in this year that the stem cells are going to be theirs. They own the name stem cell and nobody can use it. And we're not the only company that has beneficial impacts on stem cells, but we're all going to have to stop using the language that says we activate or elevate or improve stem cell technologies or stem cell activation. We have a very good relationship with them overall, with FDA overall, but you're right. I'm very concerned as we get bigger and bigger and more people are discovering this, of what that ends up meaning, with the gag orders that come out and I already have to change. Like if you want to see it all, go look right now at the website, I Am Reverse Aging, because pretty soon I have to change all my language and I don't know how exactly dramatically I have to get, but I have like 60 to 90 days to be compliant. And then I have to be much more careful about what I say and how that comes out. So they're never gonna be able to shut us down, because the miracles that happen will always, people will keep talking.
Right.
People will never, you can't shut that down. And there are double-blind placebo-controlled studies, and they are good studies. There are enough people that are aware of, there are 5,000 studies on light therapy, right? So light therapy used to be kind of woo-woo. Right. It's not anymore. People get it and understand that it is a valid and very well studied science. Very
true. Yes. And it's good to hear that the powers that be haven't come down on you guys yet. Yeah. That tells me that, among other things, this is a window of opportunity. So anyone who's even considering, this is the time to do it. This is the time to jump in.
It is, and we typically don't even. I typically don't even talk about the business opportunity that is here. But you can make, the passive residual income that comes from this company. They're so generous. They're the most generous company. And I
wasn't even thinking about, you're right. I'm sure there is a business opportunity. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about jumping in to fix your own stuff, the stuff that's requiring your life.
Heal your body, help heal other people.
Yeah.
But ultimately, here's just a story. There was a woman who was making, and this woman's been in, I think, 3 years with the company. She was making $35,000 a week. And then one podcaster signed up under her and just broke the internet, broke our back office, because they signed up so many people so fast that they couldn't keep up. Her income went from $35,000 that week to $45,000 the following week.
Wow.
That's the power of, first of all, most people get it. Most people, you don't really have to, they go to the website, they look at the science, they look at the video on how it sort of sells itself. It's sort of a no-brainer to try it and give it a good college try of, a month for every decade you are old, and then some if you have real issues, because they're going to keep checking off the things on your list of issues. And I've because of my situation with my husband and my own health and my friends, I've read every one of those studies. And I've summarized okay, this is all the things it does, and this is the link to the study and each of the studies, and this is a video on that patch. And so, I'm happy to work with people to help them understand which patches, because that can be confusing. For the easy way, it's X39 and Eon. Let's just start with that always, almost always. I have one child that was very autistic, and I started them on Eon for just the first few days. Let's calm the nervous system. Eon is known to balance the autonomic nervous system. It's actually called the happy patch. It balances it. It elevates DHEA. So we just wanted to calm that child's down. This was a nonverbal child. The very first day wearing this is a dear friend of mine. Very first day wearing the patch. That night, mom tucks the child into bed and says, good night, son, I love you. And the child says, I love you too, mom.
Oof.
She was basically bawling. She texted me and she's like, you are not going to believe this. And there are so many stories. My dear friend that has a child that's very, not autistic, but it's like autism. It's a rare genetic disorder. So she's 16, but she was kindergartner. There's a huge community of parents of autistic children that are finding amazing results with these patches. But she was just doing X39 only. And in 5 weeks, well, first let's start 15 days. At the 15-day mark, she had a different child, no longer had to take ADHD medicine, calmed down. For the first time in her life, she wasn't jittery and jumping up and down, and kind of her energy was just stilled and calm. And she was sitting at the table waiting for the tutor. She'd gotten a snack. She'd reading the book. She's like, in all her life, I had never seen this before. So that was as quick as 15 days. And at 5 weeks, they tested her, and she went from kindergarten academically to upper third, lower fourth grade in 5 weeks. Whoa. Well, guess what? It's now 9 months later, and they tested her again. Her executive functioning is now that of a 16-year-old. It was not even measurable. It was not even registering before she started the patches. She's mature. She's able to leave her alone. She couldn't leave her alone for a minute before, and now she's able to leave her alone for a little bit of time. It's just changed their lives.
God. JodieLynn, how often do I have trouble coming up with a question to follow up with?
Never. Always have a question.
I mean, there are so many different directions. I don't even know which way to go. It's like, welcome to the candy store. Pick one.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And look at the pictures. The pictures on the website, there's one of 4 bulging discs. Okay, what do you do when you have 4 bulging discs? There's no surgery to help 4 bulging discs.
Bulging discs.
So
this is just unreal.
You look and if you look 14 months later, it's completely fixed. The person's out of pain. And the surgeon's like, that's a miracle. You should see the wrinkle reduction. People that have rolls of really it's just not a pretty neck. In the course of
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to go out on a limb. And I'm going to go out on a limb and basically piss off the entire weight loss industry. Tell me about how this affects weight and weight loss.
Yeah, I actually have so there's a pharmacist friend of mine who has a mother-in-law. The pharmacist is considering leaving the pharmaceutical industry altogether and just doing this. That's how strongly she feels about the benefit. She's like, I have never been able to deliver this many miracles in this short a time. She's been doing the patches, 7 months as well, but she's ready to leave her job as a pharmacist to do just this because of the benefits. Her mother-in-law was like, no, she kept saying, Mom, you need to try these patches. And she's like, no. Finally, she tried the patches, dropped 40 pounds in a month, dropped a ton weight sizes. And that was just, that's not even, we actually have a patch, X49, the one I told you about. So X39 is the main patch. X49 is the other stem cell activating patch for you, JodieLynn, and elevates AHKCU, Walt. Those two combined are known to increase lean muscle mass and reduce fat. And let's not talk about weight loss in terms of the scale. Let's talk about inches lost. There are actually people who put on the Eon patch and the glutathione patch, and their stomachs just start, the inflammation that's in their intestines and their stomachs is so high that by just getting that inflammation out, their stomach sizes are shrinking. An inch, 22 inches are lost in like just a couple of months. It is insane. So yeah, you're right. The weight industry, you know, and there's a patch I love, and I will tell you, I don't know that I've had a very healthy relationship with food since high school. Honestly, I just have felt like I'm either dieting or I'm very conscious of what I should and shouldn't eat all the time. It's never a normal, natural thing. If I'm stress eating or standing in front of the pantry, I'm not really hungry, but I'm there anyway. And this was a problem for me. And I was, you know, I'm 58. I wasn't losing weight very easily. It was just not coming off. But there's a patch I love. It's SP6. It's actually, I wear it at the like on the ankle bone, right at the bottom of my left foot. There, most of the patches are placed along meridians, acupressure and acupuncture meridians, for most benefit. But they honestly, if you've got an injury, they can be placed there. So this,
I can't believe this. This is incredible.
This patch improves organ function, and not just it doesn't just improve organ functions like thyroid, adrenal glands, which I'm missing half my thyroid, and kidney and liver and pancreas and intestines. But it balances the hormone and supportive digestive system. It regulates the endocrine system and the hypothalamus, and it regulates the autonomic nervous system. But it basically causes a natural decrease in hunger and sugar cravings, actually any kind of cravings, including like alcohol or drug addictions. This is kind of called the addiction patch. But it is so phenomenal. I didn't even know how phenomenal it was, because remember how I told you I started all the patches at once? And right. I didn't like do it one at a time. Well, I ran out of SP6 and I was like, oh, well, you know, we'll just sort of, I'll figure it out later on. Well, next day I'm like, now I don't have any crap in my house, right? We have cleaned up our act. We don't have genetically modified foods in the house. We don't have sugar in the house, but we have pistachios. Pistachios.
I sense the pistachio coming on. Okay.
Pistachios, and they do have a little bit of sugar in them. And I ate the entire bag of pistachios. I was so full at like the halfway point, but I just kept eating it. And I have a lot of reasons. I have good reasons to be stressed or to stress eat. But that was the moment I realized, oh my gosh, I haven't done this in like a month since I started this SP6 patch. Wow. This is really working. So then I added the patch back, and it's like, I can take a couple of bites of something and then be done with it. And that's the first time in my life I feel like I have a normal and healthy relationship with food. And of all of the patches, that might be the most significant. I don't know. I just love that for me. It really makes me feel healthier. And I did drop weight. I dropped about 10 pounds pretty easily, pretty quickly. Not really working on it. Definitely working out. Here's the thing. I have more energy to work out. So before I would say I need to go work out, but you know, that takes energy and that takes dedication, that takes discipline, that takes getting to sleep, that takes all these things that I didn't necessarily do very well. Once I started the patches, I was sleeping better. So I was getting up and I'm ready to go work out, and I'm working out and I'm not so sore afterwards. I feel like working out and I feel better, and I'm eating healthy and I'm drinking lots of water. It's this cycle of all this goodness.
Yeah. Goodness is absolutely the word too. That's the word that keeps flowing through my head. Like, goodness me, this is crazy.
I know.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. I'm trying to write down a list of all the people that need to take these things.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. That's. You know, I'm not kidding when I tell you I listen to podcasts. I'm like, oh, they need my patches. Oh, they do. They're still traumatized, or they still got this issue, or they've got this health issue, or whatever they need. You just can't. I can't reach. I kind of started to tell you this in the green room a little bit. If you would have asked me if I would have gone on a podcast 6 months ago, I would have told you were crazy. I was the person
find that so hard to believe, Darlene.
No, really. I don't have a problem speaking. I was a commanding officer. I had 1,200 people working under me. I am comfortable speaking in large audiences. It's when you hit that record button and it's going to go out in the cloud and the Ethernet all over the place. And it kind of just like, it freaks me out. But I was the person who posted once when my daughter graduated from the Naval Academy and another time when my other daughter graduated from the Air Force Academy. And that was good for 5 or 6 years. That was like all I did. So, but I feel like, wow, it's criminal to not talk about this. Where would we be today if I would have known about this 2 years ago? And I listened to a lot of podcasts and I never heard of it. I just happened to be lucky enough for someone to talk to me about it. This gal with the autistic child and the cousin that's got Agent Orange leukemia. I mean, it's like who everyone needs to know about it. Make your own decision on whether you decide to do it or not, but know about it because that's just so. So I am willing to go online. I'm willing to tell my story. I'm willing to tell people that it's really made this remarkable difference in my life and in my husband's life and in my family's life and in my cousin's life and in my aunt and my other people. I have one relative who was so depressed. She said she was ready to have God take her home. Like, I'm done. And she said that veil of darkness has lifted and she is happy for the first time in years. She Zoom called with me and she said, she was almost teary just saying, I don't know how to thank you. You've given me my life back. Now, what in the world could be better than that? What in the world, right? And taking people out of pain and having people go, thank you, I'm feeling so great. And just text messages all the time from people that are feeling great and out of pain. It's just the most remarkable thing in the world. It's my passion. I have a day job. I actually do have a real day job. I'm a director of client services for a network and technology company, a security company. I do that. This is in the margins of my day because I am so passionate about this.
I'm reminded of, I think it was the first Star Trek movie. No, it wasn't the first one. It was one of the first few Star Trek movies. And at one point, the team, the main officers of the Starship Enterprise come down to modern day Earth. And Dr. McCoy finds himself in a hospital talking to a patient who's a kidney patient who has to go in for dialysis. And of course, he's the advanced, 22nd century physician. So he goes on and on about how terrible it is that she has to go through dialysis. He hands her a pill and walks away. She takes the pill. She says, "The doctor cured me. The doctor cured me." I mean, that's almost what we're talking about here. That's what it sounds like, that scene from the movie, except it's a patch instead of a pill.
It does. Our inventor, David Schmidt, is such a huge Star Trek fan. We actually have a headquarters being built in Utah that is literally being designed by the guy that did the Star Trek designs and costumes to spaceships, right? He is so brilliant. One of the things he invented long ago were battery technology. He's taken that and he's used it to, so we have so we're a technology company that does patches. So let's just start with that. Patches are one of the things we do. We actually have a drone that is used for humanitarian relief. It goes farther and I think it's got the longest distance, and it delivers aid and delivers whatever is needed to areas that are needing humanitarian aid. It helped Maui, for example. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a new drone that he showed us this year. Not only, and you got to think about the fact that there's Lockheed Martin, there's all of these big companies doing drone technology. We're this tiny little company, right? But he has now got a drone called the Voyager that is able to basically land going very slowly, 10 miles per hour, and in a very short distance, like 30 feet. So it can land on a beach. It's got cameras and infrared. But what's cool about it is that it can fly in 25 mile per hour winds, which most drones can't. They fall apart and can't do it. Mm-hmm. It can fly fast to get to the target, and then it can stay there. And get this, most drones last about 6 minutes of battery time, and then they have to come back and land. This drone can stay up for 40 hours.
That's
so imagine if you're doing infrared and thermal imaging and you're looking for bodies and wreckage of a hurricane or something. 40 hours, you can get there, you can fly, you can do the communication, you can get it back, and you can really help people. So he is, there's more technology coming around the corner that he hasn't really shared with us that I'm excited about, because one of the senior gals who's super successful in the organization said he told her, this is going to help your mother with her Parkinson's. And I'm like, sign me up for whatever that is, because that's neurological, more than whatever the patches are doing even. So there's more coming. And that's why, we really are right at this perfect opportunity. This is certainly the most amazing technology out there, but there's other great things coming.
This is just incredible. And unfortunately we're blowing past our normal time. So we got to kind of pull it together for this one. We'll have you back for other episodes. That's a given. But a couple of things we need to do before you go. First of all, you got to tell people where to find these damn patches. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So IamReverseAging.com is my website, and you can dive into the science. You can see videos on how it works there. You can actually see there's a whole veterinary line for horses and pets that you can take a look at. There is, you can buy them there. You can reach out to me there. You can basically send a little note to me and says, hey, I'd like to chat with you about what's best for me. Or you can just pick your package. You can customize the kit and buy them right online and have them sent to you. And if you do, I'm still going to send you some follow-up email. Drink your water, wear the patches 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Here's how you patch ice wave, those kinds of things to help get you along. I really want these to be, want everyone to be very successful with those.
Very cool. Okay. And then the second thing that I got to do, JodieLynn, I'm looking forward to this part. I do this every time, but this time is perfect. Because I noticed a couple of years ago, Darlene, that, people like you come onto the show, and, the reason that you come onto the show is because you found something really wonderful. You want to share it with the world. And that's a story that plays out over and over again. People find all kinds of stuff that's really cool. They want to share it with the world, and they do. And they often do it by, doing podcasts and doing social media and writing posts and writing articles and blogging, and then, putting out all this content all over the place. They write books. And a lot of it is content that gets consumed by people they've never met, they've never seen, they never will meet, never will see. And they never get congratulated for that part. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. There are a lot of people being helped, and people should be recognized for that. So I make it a practice to say, on behalf of those that you've never met yet and that you've never seen, that you've been helping just so far, not even counting what's going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years, just the part you've done so far, on their behalf. Thank you for what you've been doing, because you're obviously making a huge difference in this world.
Well, and JodieLynn, I'm going to reflect that right back to you. And say thank you right back, because you're the one facilitating that and making that possible. And all that you do, and we talked about how prolific you are with all of your podcasts. That's a very generous thing that you do, offering to the world all this good, all this life, all this joy, this law of attraction. I'm just delighted to have us talking and friends, and continue our friendship and future together. So thank you for all that you do right back.
And we're definitely going to have you back for some more. Okay, JodieLynn, you know what comes last. It's always the hardest one, but you're really good at it. So I'm going to throw the microphone over to you. What's the takeaway?
Oh, I'm reminded of the phrase, be the change you want to see in the world. And you are literally doing that, Darlene, taking your beautiful light and reflecting it into the world, reminding all of us that we have a beautiful light within. And when reflected back within, we can heal anything. So thank you.
That's so
you
true.
See why I passed that along to JodieLynn, Darlene? You see?
It's, people know when to delegate responsibility, Walt. That's just definitely,
that's
definitely
just it.
well done. That's just perfect.
This has been great. My goodness. We're going to definitely book you for some more future shows. I know our schedule is kind of booked for the next month, so we'll probably aim for getting you in like end of November, early December, but we're going to get you in for some more shows, because we got to talk about this more. But thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for telling us these very inspiring stories.
Mm-hmm.
Stories that are so inspiring. I mean, I'm tingling. JodieLynn, are you feeling like I'm having tingles running up and down my body, up and down my spine?
Yeah. The whole time, just goosebumps. When you said, that this, the creator of this, channeled it. Essentially, I'm a channel. I, talk to God, beings on the other side. That's one of the things that I do. And I think it's just so amazing that someone did that and built a technology to help people heal themselves. I feel like it's advanced beyond its time. And I'm so glad that it's here and able to help. And I feel like it's also divine. Like you said, Walt, like, I wasn't looking for stem cells, but I had decided, a couple weeks ago that I don't care what my doctor says. I'm going to heal the things that need to be healed. You can't tell me they can't be healed because I don't believe you. And so I've been patiently waiting. I let the thought go and have been patiently waiting for the thing to guide me to where I need to go to heal my body in the way that I want to. And I think I found it. So
isn't it interesting too? We wonder if we're ever going to notice the signs that come along, right? In this case, it wasn't so much a sign as it was an avalanche.
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes you get whispered and sometimes you get bonked on the head.
Pretty much. Are you paying it? Hello? Is there anybody in there? Hello?
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This has been great. Thanks again, Darlene, so much. We really appreciate this. Fabulous stuff.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.